man scratches at the supercar. After confirming that the sports car was made of 24-karat solid gold, they were about to steal the $3 billion Porsche from a 188-story building. They stole the $3 billion Porsche, first on the roof of the building, slowly lowering the scaffolding prepared in advance. Then they removed the glass from the windows, the wire from the handstand. After securing it to the rear of the car, the two men began to slowly push the car out of the window. The top floor is then informed to pull the wire upwards. Soon the car is pulled several meters into the air. At this point, the crowd downstairs is watching the toy game. It was hard to notice the $3 billion above as they watched the car slowly descend. Jack is already at the window on the 188th floor ready to go. Upon seeing the car, he hurriedly tied the rope to the iron frame. After making sure it was secure, he was about to reach out and pull the car. Instead, he was left hanging in midair. The $3 billion was about to go down the drain. Adam and Smith rushed to the back of the car, following the ropes. The cowardly Jack tried desperately to hold on for dear life, just as his strength was running out. Then the pair got inside the car. They began to rock and roll. After thousands of swings back and forth, Jack hooked right into the tail of the car. Once everything was in place, the wire was lowered from the roof in an instant. The car was successfully pulled up to the 188th floor, just as they were about to put it in the lift and take it away. Adam's men were about to transport the car back. Tyson and the female officer returned to the building. The theft plan was about to be discovered. The men started the lift to take the car back to the top floor. Why did Adam and the others want the car? It turns out that Adam is the property manager of the penthouse. He had no worries. He could have worked comfortably until he was old enough to retire. But soon afterwards something happens, would turn his life upside down. That day Tyson, the financial magnate who lived on the top floor of the flat, he told his driver to leave at noon according to his schedule. But after a long wait, Tyson, who had a strong sense of time, didn't come down on time. This made the man feel something was wrong. Just then, the car parked at the intersection. Four men with guns suddenly emerged. Adam realized that they were targeting the flat. He immediately asked the security guard to close the door. The men went to the surveillance room to see what was going on, but was surprised to find that Tyson had been taken away by two men. The top tycoon had been abducted from his flat. If word of this got out, his property manager would be out of a job. Adam rushed to tell his friends to call the police, and then he went after them himself. The car happened to be going too fast and flipped over. The police officer who arrived, Mary, quickly arrested him. Adam was stunned. It turned out that this wasn't just a kidnapping. Tyson was suspected of manipulating the stock market and had absconded. What was even worse for him was that 3 years ago he and his colleagues' pensions had been entrusted to Tyson 3 years earlier. Tyson had also promised that in 5 years' time, everyone's money would have doubled tenfold. Now it seemed like a complete scam. The next day, Tyson returned to his returned to his flat. The police told the man he had to stay under FBI surveillance for a full 7 hours to be completely free. Otherwise, he would be sent back to the police again. Tyson looks at the Porsche in front of him and says with a smile, "Of course it's okay." That night, the security guard tried to commit suicide by jumping into the train station. Luckily, he was rescued. After talking to the security guard, Adam found out that the security guard had given his salary and pension to Tyson. And once Tyson filed for bankruptcy, he would lose all his savings from working for half his life. When Adam heard this, he was furious. He went straight to Tyson's house. He entered the room and berated Tyson for his lack of integrity. But Tyson reluctantly said the investment was risky. He had told everyone before, but they were still greedy and I couldn't help it. When Adam saw that he couldn't talk his way out of this man's insanity, so he grabbed a baseball bat and went on a rampage against the Porsche. The next thing, Adam and his friends on the property are fired. The man then decided to get everyone's hard-earned money back, no matter what. He then reported what he had learned about Tyson's assets to police officer Mary. The woman, however, said that this information was already known at the police station. They just didn't have conclusive evidence. A disappointed Adam was about to leave. Mary had even more desperate news for him. Even if evidence was found, Tyson's assets would all be auctioned off, and all the money would go into the bank's pockets. Like the security guard's compensation will be largely ignored. Just when Adam was feeling desperate, Mary told him Tyson had withdrawn $200 million 3 days earlier and it was still missing. Yet when Tyson was arrested, the police had searched every place he could hide the money. They still hadn't found the money. Mary told Adam, "If you can find the money, maybe you can convict Tyson straight away." After the woman's reminder, Adam was suddenly enlightened. He remembered that Tyson had just bought a safe, and the next thing he knew, a daring plan came to the man's mind. But the man couldn't do it on his own, so he approached his colleagues who had previously been fired. The next thing he knew, Adam was announcing his plan to the three of them. It turned out that a few days earlier, Tyson had renovated the house. And when you consider the safe and the $200 million transfer of funds, then it could be deduced that Tyson must have hidden the money somewhere in the house. Looking at the plans again, the house was almost completely renovated. Only one wall in the middle had been left untouched. This wall was not a load-bearing wall. Then there must be a story. Adam then pointed out the safe. It must be inside this wall. They were speechless as they listened to the plan. As much as they wanted the $200 million, but the plan was impossible to implement. There were two reasons for this. The first was that Tyson was being held at home. He couldn't leave the house at all. Secondly, there were several police officers outside the door. There was no way for ordinary people to get in. Adam, on the other hand, advised the crowd that the plan is dead. The man is alive. There was always a way to break it. Immediately afterwards, Adam released the thief Smith from prison and planned to get him to join his team. Smith was happy with the plan, but as soon as he saw the members of his team, Smith was completely stunned because they were all worse than each other. With a team like that, it didn't take much thinking to guess that they would be caught. Adam, however, said they were all potential players. Smith was tempted by the offer of $200 million and agreed. The group then began to work on a plan to break into the safe. That's when Adam found Sophia, the cleaning lady, and Sophia's spare time job is a professional locksmith. The team was finally complete. The next thing Adam knew from Mary was that Tyson was due to stand trial in a few days. So Adam made a phone call pretending to be a lawyer to get Tyson out of the flat. Seeing that the first step was a success, Adam quickly informed his team that they were ready to move in. If nothing else, the unexpected is about to happen. Smith suddenly left the team. He then arrived alone at the apartment building. He lied to the manager that he was there to see the flat. In fact, he wanted the $200 million for himself. Adam saw that he had been tricked. He didn't take offense. The plan continued in an orderly fashion. Smith, who had arrived at the flat, he immediately locked the manager in the wardrobe, and then he turned up the stereo to muffle the manager's cries for help. On the other side, Adam arrived at the electric switch room and locked Smith into the house. He then puts on his mask and sneaks into Tyson's room. Then he began to break down the wall. As expected, there was a safe in the middle wall. Just as the men managed to open the safe, Smith pulled out a gun and pointed it at the men. Adam was about to be captured. At that moment, Sophia arrived just in time. The next few men rushed to look through the safe, only to find it empty. Disappointed, the men were about to leave when a furious Smith started to grab the gun. In the panic, a bullet pierces a Porsche not far away. Adam was surprised to find the little car was made of gold. This was followed by the previous scene. Tyson, who had returned to his flat, exploded instantly. He blamed the police. If they don't find his Ferrari, everyone in the room was going to be sued. Mary, on the other hand, was calm. She looked at the smashed safe, so she took Tyson back to jail. Tyson was no longer the imposing figure he had been. He was instantly submissive. Adam then dismantled the solid gold car that had been hidden in the pool. Dismantled it all. Every person Tyson had tricked. Each person Tyson tricked received parts made of solid gold. Tyson was eventually sentenced to life in prison.